Hello and welcome to the Link Changemaker series. I am super excited about today's discussion. As some of our regular viewers will know, we do this Link Changemaker series to bring together global perspectives on some of the most important issues of the day by featuring the changemakers who are doing work in their communities at the most hyperlocal and the most global of levels. Over this last year, I've had the opportunity to travel pretty much all around this world. And what we found is that these global challenges and these hyperlocal opportunities aren't disconnected. We don't have to wait for big government and global institutions to solve issues for us. Often these issues have solutions at the most local level if communities are empowered and listened to and given agency in these moments. And I'm really excited to have just a perfect example of a community that is doing remarkable things in South Africa. I'm here today with Sbu, my dear friend, who I've gotten to know over the years, who's just leading great work for the Embeleco Foundation. Sbu is on one of our most recent Changemaker panels. I think it was our last one that we did on the power of convening. And through that, you were talking about the incredible work that your students were doing. And I think it was during that discussion, we said, what if we do one of these that really puts the students in the forefront? And so that's what we're going to be doing here today. So Sbu and I are going to have a little quick discussion here at the beginning, and then we're going to bring the students in and have a great dialogue, and then they're going to ask us questions, and I couldn't be more excited about it. So Sbu, let me toss to you. Can you tell us a little bit about Embeleco, a little bit about the foundation, and then we'll bring your phenomenal students in. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Michael, for having me to the Link Strategic team. I'm excited to be here. We always talk virtually and haven't done as much traveling as we used to. So being back in DC is really, really exciting for me. So a little bit about Embeleco. We are all from a community called KwaNyuswa. It's a village in the Valley of 1,000 Hills outside Durban in South Africa. And that's where I grew up, raised by parents who were community developers and really exposed to a lot of leaders from around the world that allowed me and my siblings to be mentored by, all kinds of people. And when my twin sister and I got to university, we realized that given the exposure that we got also to quality education, we needed to pay it forward to the next generation of young leaders, like it was done for us. So we started Embeleco about 13 years ago, really to target socially marginalized children from our community who were super talented academically, very similar to how my sister, my brothers, and I were. So when we started off as a scholarship program, taking kids to boarding schools like we went to boarding schools, but over time we realized that we're scratching the surface. We really needed to create an environment within the community where kids will be able to walk to our space. And with COVID, we also realized the power of technology, how it could help us scale and impact more children. So in 2022, we started our own school in partnership with the University of Cape Town, and most of the kids on this chat today are part of that school. We also have a digital after-school program that hosts hundreds of kids from 13 schools around our community. One of our panelists is from that program and is our head student. And really our journey and our purpose is to get these talented young minds to become global self-sustaining citizens like we became. We were able to dream and become whatever we dreamt to become. And that's what we hope for them. We are starting to see the results. We have over 100 graduates that have gone through our programs, from doctors to chartered accountants to engineers. And we hope that these four are also on the path to achieve all of that. So I'm really excited to introduce you to them. In them, I actually see myself. Like every time we onboard new kids, I'm quite involved in the interview process and the selection process, and it's their stories that really influence the decision to onboard them onto our program. So I am so excited for the world to get to hear what can happen in any rural community in the world, how we shouldn't look at our levels of poverty and societal challenges and feel that that's the end of the world. We have created something amazing in our own community, and I'm excited for everyone to get to hear from the kids themselves. So I would love to introduce, starting with Zama, then Spogazi, then Smogimpilo, and then our boy in the room, Sandile. Please do introduce yourself. Who you are, what grade you are in, and what else do you want? Anything you want to tell us about yourself?
Good morning, good day, good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. My name is Zamange Manene, and I'm doing grade 10 at UCT Online High School. So what I aspire to be when I grow up is an aerospace engineer. Just like the flights and the space exploration is something that excites me immensely. And the idea of designing and creating aircrafts and spacecrafts is one thing that really I just really want to do. I really want to expose myself into those kind of things. And I really do believe that being in this field will just connect the world to be more advanced, and it will just bring more advanced technology, and it's just really breaking new boundaries and being able to see what happens outside the earth. So I'm very excited for that. Yeah, thank you.
Greetings, everyone. Thank you very much for having me. My name is Bongimpilo Ndlovu, and I'm doing grade 10 under the UCT Online High School program. When I grow up, I aspire to be an orthopedic surgeon. So this is because of the love that I have for orthopedics and the overall musculoskeletal system. So the spark that I have for this particular field was lit back in grade 9 when we were learning about the different systems that you get in the body. And the musculoskeletal system was the one that stood out to me. So I just found it so fascinating and interesting. And I found myself asking questions like, how is it so much possible that different part of your body, like your muscles and your bones, have to work together for you to be able to do a simple gesture like raising your hand? And I just knew from that day that I wanted to do this for the rest of my life.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Sandile Zwane. I'm doing grade 10 at UCT Online High School. And when I grow up, I aspire to be a clinical pharmacist. This is because of the love and passion I have for medicine. And also, my mother is a traditional herbalist, meaning she uses herbal remedies to help if you're sick. Therefore, me being a clinical pharmacist will also help in expanding the knowledge I already have about medicine.
I am Sipulaza Dube, and I'm currently in grade 12. I attended the digital after-school program of the Imbelego Foundation. Answering the future career question always not easy for me, mainly because I have a vast of opportunities that I'm exposed to daily. So it's like I discover something new every day, literally. But I am considering being a chartered accountant, not only for the prestige that it comes with, but also because I love working with numbers, and also I love that the career allows you to work in a variety of areas, from tax to consulting and financial management.
Here, orthopedic surgeon, traditional medicine, accountant. These are fantastic. And I love I don't quite know what I want to be when I grow up. I'm exposed. I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. So let's just put that out there. We do these Changemakers dinners as well, where we bring people together at kind of the top of their industry. And one of my favorite questions to ask a room of very accomplished adults is, what do you want to be when you grow up? Because if you ever stop wanting to achieve something different, life gets boring, right? So I love all of this, and I'm really, really excited about it. Zamia Sabor on the screen with us today is a senior associate and project manager here at Link Strategic Partners, and really the person who makes the Changemaker series work. She is the one that puts together the agenda, the program, the invites, the tech. She kind of does it all, and she is going to be our co-facilitator here today. So Zamia, I'm going to toss to you to take us through the next section.
Thanks, Michael. Super excited to be here and super excited to be in the room amongst a lot of youth leaders. So the next question, each of you kind of told us a little bit about yourself and who you aspire to be. And understanding who motivates you and influences you can give us valuable insight into the leaders that you want to be. So can each of you share who inspires you as a leader and why? If you had to name one person that you look up to, who would you choose and why would you choose them?
Um, who inspires me as a leader? I look up to Elon Musk. And the reason why I look up to him, it's because he's a risk taker, he's very innovative, and he's a forward thinker. And those are all the qualities that I really do commend about him. So, for example, he created the spacecraft for the SpaceX, and unfortunately, it exploded. And one thing that he was determined to do was that he wanted to try again. And on the second attempt, when he tried again, he was able to do it. And so this just teaches me that if you're really ambitious about your goals and if you really do want to achieve your goals, you can be able to do that. And also for the Tesla company that he has, he creates cars that are environmentally friendly, which also shows me that he's someone who cares for the earth and he's keeping up on these sustainable practices. And so those are all the things that just I commend about him, and they just also make me think and want to be like him and to just think boldly and innovative, just like him.
Thank you so much for that. Who wants to go next?
The person who inspires me is someone who has been with me since the very day I was born, and that is my mother. This is because she has been always there to lead me and to show me the right direction without fail. And she's always telling me about the stories when I was still in primary of how she would usually take leadership positions, like being a class representative in the class. And always her attitude, or her never say die attitude, and always wanting to be that person to take responsibility has always been the leadership qualities and that have inspired me, and that's what I want to be reflected when I'm with other people. So that's why my mother is the person who inspires me.
I love that so much.
The person that inspires me is Luxolo Mdolo, who is a final year medical student at the University of Cape Town. He's also a YouTuber, a motivational speaker, and I personally say that he is an influencer, as he has influenced my life so much. So in his channel, he basically shares study tips, motivational videos, and also shares blogs showing us the glimpse of the medical field. And something that stood out to me in his channel is the motto that he shares in every single video of his, which says, "Climb the ladder and leave it there for someone else." So this motto has inspired me and motivates me all the time to study hard so that I'm able to, when I'm older, I'm able to go back to my community and bring back change and be able to offer support and help to younger minds that have similar goals and dreams as mine.
I love that quote. I had to write it down in my notebook. I'll look back at that.
I look up to Miss Sibusisiwe Mieni. I call her Ansiwu. I have always admired that she has a clear understanding of her vision for the Imbeleko Foundation and where she wants to be in the years to come. I have had moments where I was fortunate enough to be in her car whilst she was on a call with one of the sponsors. And man, I love how hopeful she always sounds, her great insights and her spirit of tenacity. I admire that she's such a loving person. She has integrity and so empathetic towards others. She's really that one person who will go out of her own way to make sure that the next person is okay. And the fact that she actually quit her job as a banker 13 years ago and believed in this vision, believed that the Imbeleko Foundation could be what it is today, it truly is something commended.
Thank you so much for that. Oh, Michael, I'll toss to you for the next question.
We got all four, did we? Yes, perfect. I'm gonna deviate from the script just briefly, so stick with us for a second. That was amazing. Thank you for sharing that. I loved all of those, and I love the intentionality behind them. I also have to say I'm a huge mama's boy. So when you put your mom on that pedestal, I get that, man. My mom is my inspiration. I learned all my work ethic from her. My mom was a janitor in a high school for 30 years, cafeteria worker, worked with special needs students, and that hard work definitely is something I learned from her. So I love holding that up. Sabu, it's not something we prepped for, but I'd love to know, where do you get your inspiration? What drives your passion around this?
Interestingly, I recently wrote a post on social media about my dad. Both my parents were in community development, and I'm amazed at how things that didn't make sense to me growing up are what influence me now every single day. Who my dad was, the work he did in the community, his wisdom, how he thought about things. I feel like they influence me now more than ever. He's been gone for 5 years now, and I just it's like I have this book of all the things that he did when I was a child, and I'm just amazed at how I keep going. It's almost like there's a checklist that he left for me without even knowing that he was leaving it for me. And of course, my mom too, who is still in community, is a leader that a lot of people still refer to. Every single day I learn from her. And I actually, sometimes I laugh at myself, because in the beginning, she would try and tell me so many things, and I would be like, I don't want to hear from you. I'm a professional. You sent me to school, and I know better. But when it comes to working with people in the community, and our work is intergenerational, it's not just limited to children. We need to work with parents. We need to work with community leaders, and she is just such a powerhouse. And her wisdom is, I can't compare it to anything else. Yeah.
I love that. Samia, but what about you? Where do you get your inspiration as a leader, Samia?
I was trying to think, and Sabu, hearing that your dad inspires you as a leader, I kind of thought a lot about my grandmom. Her birthday just passed. She would have celebrated her 78th birthday. And just to think about the foundation that she set in all of her 12 kids and 76 grandchildren, I think now. It's a lot of us. But just her passion and her forward thinking drives me a lot. Like, I get frustrated at something and I'm thinking it's the end of the world, and my grandma is at the forefront of my mind. Like, there's a lesson in everything. You're always going to learn something. So she definitely drives a lot of the work that I do, and the love and the passion for the work that I do as well. Thank you, Michael.
I love that. I'm going to bring a new voice into the discussion here. We've got a true visionary with us on the call, the head of the Academy. Today, I'm going to bring you in. I'd love to learn a little bit about your role and kind of what drives you in this. Is there any place you're pulling inspiration from? And then I'd also love to hear from you about, as you're working with these incredible young people, how do you make sure the skills and the education kind of stays relevant and prepares them for a truly ever-changing world? Over to you.
Thank you, Michael. It is quite exciting to be part of this conversation today. So my role is, as head of the Academy, is to design and implement a blended learning curriculum that leverages technology for our learners to excel in whatever field that they choose to pursue. So working with these amazing minds inspires me. I became a teacher. I did a BSc in chemical engineering as an undergraduate degree. But when I volunteered in after-school programs and teaching, I realized how fortunate I was to be academically inclined and wanted to give back to the rural child of South Africa the knowledge that my teachers impacted on me. So I've been very privileged and fortunate to be part of Imbeleko Foundation. I've gone all over South Africa looking for institutions that actually do what Imbeleko promises to do and do for the young people. So I've learned a lot from them the past year and a half, and I keep learning. And that will lead into just keeping learning and knowledge for our students' relevance in a fast-changing world is a constant challenge for teachers and schools. We are preparing these young people for a world that doesn't exist yet. And when we went to school and did our teaching degrees, some of the things that they are aspiring to do and doing didn't even exist. So in today's dynamic world, ensuring the skills and knowledge we impart to our students remains relevant requires a multi-pronged approach that goes beyond teaching facts. Cultivating a growth mindset is fundamental. We need to instill a love of learning that goes beyond just textbooks, where our learners see challenges as stepping stones to growth. This fosters curiosity, resilience, and ability to adapt, which are essential traits for navigating an ever-changing landscape. Just a couple of weeks ago, we had a talent show, and when you hear talent show, you expect to see dancing, singing, and that sort of thing in the arts. But one of our grade 8 students actually built a vibrating motor as his talent. And as a teacher, I wouldn't have thought that that is something possible. And when we foster this curiosity in our students through some of the work that we do in our after-school program, in the coding, we've sparked an interest where our students are detectives for knowledge. One of our students went on after learning to code with the Swift Playground to teach himself animation. And this is something that I can't teach as a maths teacher, but if I create this love of learning and desire to learn that is just beyond textbooks, our learners are able to go on and find these things for themselves. Also, one of the things that we emphasize is to focus on transferable skills. As the academy, we've chosen to focus on STEM subjects, not because maths and science is more important than other skills, but because of the transferable skills that it teaches our learners, like critical thinking, problem solving, communication, collaboration, and adaptability. They can go on to apply these skills in any field that they choose to pursue. And with these skills, our students are empowered to learn new things quickly, solve unforeseen problems, and work effectively with diverse teams. In our blended learning school, our learners attend an online school, which transcends geographical barriers that we have in South Africa and gives them access to high quality education and instruction. And they get to interact with their peers across South Africa. And this broadens their perspective beyond our community of Kwanyuswa to a more global perspective, because they get to interact and communicate with other learners in the area. So by fostering a growth mindset, embracing technology, and prioritizing transferable skills, we unlock a student's true potential, which we might not know by just teaching subject content. We create lifelong learners who are adaptable, resourceful, and ready to tackle any challenge that the future throws their way. The resilience and tenacity that they have to keep pushing themselves to reach beyond what they have in their immediate environment ensures that the education we provide them today empowers them to thrive in an ever-evolving world of tomorrow. Thank you, Michael.
That's amazing. You know, I think everyone asks, like, what's the playbook for success? And there's not one playbook, but I think if there was a playbook for educational success, you've just laid a lot of that out. A love for learning, a desire for growth, transferable skills going beyond the book, and creating resilience. And there was a lot more in there, but that's really incredible stuff. And I think it's applicable at a global level. It fits your context and what you do, but I think that skill set, that playbook could work in a lot of different places. So thank you so much for sharing that out. Zamia, I'm going to toss back to you for the next question.
Thanks, Michael. So the title of our panel today is Innovation Across Continents and the Power of Hyperlocal and Global. So next, I want to talk a little bit about how you see the work of the Embeleco Foundation making a difference in your local community. So where you all are from, how do you find, like, how do you see Embeleco Foundation making a difference in your community? And then to go a little bit deeper, how do you think that these local efforts connect to a global context? So how could we, discussing problems in your local community, kind of widen the range on a global perspective? I'll open the floor. Who wants to go first?
So the Embeleco Academy provides underprivileged and socially marginalized young minds with great qualification and extra academic support. So they do this using a new unique system of learning, which is the blended learning system, which is both physical teacher interactions in class and also online learning. So this new way of learning has attracted many visitors to the academy, as we normally have visitors from other communities coming to see how this whole system works, who are interested and want to learn more on how we actually operate as the Embeleco Academy. Like, for example, we recently had a visit from the chief coming from Venda, who was also one of the people who seemed to be interested and curious on how this whole system works. He also mentioned that they are actually planning on starting a similar program back in Venda. So this just shows how the Embeleco is able to affect and impact other communities outside of KwaNyuswa. And as the Embeleco continues to grow, it will be able to inspire and motivate other communities outside of KwaNyuswa, even outside of South Africa. And it will be also able to impact other countries, meaning that the whole world will now be filled with similar programs that use this amazing way of learning.
Thank you so much for that.
Okay, so as stated before, Embeleco runs a digital after-school program, and one of the lessons offered in this digital after-school program is coding. As we know, our world is constantly developing at a rapid rate. Technological discoveries are being made, and with these improvements, it has never been more important to learn the basics, such as coding, as this will allow us to have a broader view of the different jobs now that we have, such as software engineering. I believe that with as we are being told this at an early age, like they are given, grade 6 are allowed to be able to access these opportunities, which are from 12 years to 13 years. So exposure to a young age, as we all know, can lead to us being able to do this and handle this better in the future. So I believe an example I would also like to use is myself. I do IT as a subject, and this was largely impacted because I was able to do coding before. So now I'm able to maybe consider it as a job opportunity. So this will enable us to also learn new skills that are necessary for our constantly evolving world. As we know, with the usage of the internet, it will enable us to do many different things, such as the meeting we are having today. It would not have been possible if it wasn't for the usage and the constant developing ways. So as us trying to stay ahead of the curve, I believe that with these early adaptations and implementations, this will enable us to have an economy that will benefit us locally and enable us to stay on par with the other nations and countries globally.
Really good answer. Thank you so much.
So I see the work of Embeleco Academy making a very big significance in our community, in our local community. For example, they have just started these scholarship programs that help underprivileged children who come from low-income families to be able to access quality education. So this does not only help them academically, as I've just said, It also helps them to it also empowers them to be able to be confident and to also learn new things, which just empowers them to be able to break the cycle of poverty. And through their scholarship programs, like they improve educational outcomes, which is one of the UN goals, and also they reduce dropout rates in the area of Wanuswa. And they also, what they do is that they just bring a sense of hope and opportunity amongst our students. So, for example, last year we had a cleanup event, and it was Imbeleko Foundation, which partnered with upcycling and recycling companies. And what we did was that with those companies, with the partner companies, we were able to go out in our community and pick up litter to just make our environment look clean. Also, what this did was that it was able to show people that this is the way that we can be able to better our environment. And we wanting them to be able to adopt the same thing and do these same practices that we are doing. And so I don't think that it was only changing, or it was only benefiting us as the foundation. It also was contributing to the betterment of our environment. Because if we clean our environment, less people get sick, and if less people are sick, people are then are able to go to work, and they're able to work for their families to be able to sustain themselves, and also they're able to contribute to the economical landscape of the area of Wanus. Yes.
Over and above providing us with access to technology, skills, and resources, enabling us to develop essential skills for the digital age, the Imbeleko Foundation also offers opportunities for young people in my community to get mentorship from individuals who are more experienced and serve as positive role models and inspire us to pursue our passions. The foundation has exposed and introduced each and every one of us to a multitude of possibilities. In the year 2023, I was fortunate to receive a full scholarship to a STEM program by AFS Intercultural Programs, and I went on to experience a whole different world than the United States of America. From there on, my view of the world changed. I was reminded that my dreams as the Black child are valid. The program does bridge the digital divide by providing us with these essential skills as the marginalized group, and thus contributes to the global effort to create a more responsible and informed digital community.
A full scholarship? Is that what I heard? Wow. Congratulations on that. Woo. I will just say that your stories are super inspirational. In 8th grade, I had a chance to travel abroad to France, and that was the first international kind of travel abroad trip that I had. And it wasn't until very recently when I hear Michael talking about hyperlocal and hyperglobal and understanding where you travel and the work in those local communities, how it impacts the communities where you live, but also just on a global and international perspective. So just having those national and international perspectives, opportunities, resources really does, set the foundation and change perspective on life. So that's really inspiring. Michael, I'll toss to you for our last question before we open it up for Q&A.
Fully agree with everything you just said to me. I think that perspective setting is so important. I grew up in a little tiny town. We had no real money growing up. And the first time I was ever on a plane, I was flying abroad to study in Japan. So I went from this town of 1,200 people abroad, and it changed my entire perspective on the world. I remember I sold with my family, we sold 700 boxes of fudge as a fundraiser to pay for that trip. So it taught me entrepreneurship, but it also showed me a whole new world. You don't come back from an experience like that unchanged. And hopefully this discussion is doing that for many people here today who are going to watch this discussion, learn from each of you as the leaders of today and tomorrow, and it's going to change their perspective and open up possibilities. So I appreciate you all doing that. I'm going to ask one last question and then turn this over to you all to ask us questions. I'm really excited about that. So often in discussions like this, the young people are referred to as the leaders of the future, but I believe that misses the opportunity of the leadership you already have. clearly through your answers today, you're the leaders of now who will also be the leaders of the future. And that's really, really exciting to see. So I'm going to ask you all, and I'd love to actually hear from Tay and Sabu around this as well. As you think about your leadership journey and what you're doing, how are you connecting kind of the education, the opportunities that you have now to the change you want to see in your community and globally? How does that connect for you? I'd really be interested in hearing that from whoever would like to start.
When it comes to making a positive change in society, I think it is always tempting to focus on the big picture, solving some of the world's biggest issues. However, I believe that also local change and local initiatives can eventually lead to bigger impact. When I finish school, I want to promote business education in my community by starting a business school. It is a fact that we can all attest to, that the world is no longer looking for employees or job seekers, but rather for people who will create job opportunities to help alleviate poverty, especially in countries like mine, South Africa. So I really think that providing education and entrepreneurship is one way to tackle some of our world's current issues.
For me, the scholarship program has impacted me and has played a very important role in developing both my personal and also my academical goals. And I think that the scholarship has provided me with the access quality education that I wanted, and also with the very invaluable guidance. And I think, and I really do believe that with these skills that they have taught me here in Imbeleko Foundation, I'm able to even advocate for education and also environmental development in my community, just like the foundation does. And in my local community, there are little things that I do plan to do. Just for example, I want to organize workshops and tutoring sessions where I am sharing knowledge to younger minds and younger students who need help. And this will just help to bridge the educational gaps that there might be, and also inspire them to do better, which is like empowering them to be more confident in themselves. And also on a larger scale, I would like to create an organization that also focuses on educational support and also environmental development, because I feel like these are the things that are really important in the world of today. The fact that we're able to look at our environment and be able to see that these are the things that we need to do so that we can be able to better ourselves and for us to live sustainably. And also education, I think everybody knows that education is the key to success. So I think that for us as younger minds to be able to expose ourselves to more knowledge, and for us to expose ourselves to education, we're able to create the future that we want to see in the future. And also, as much as I do want to be an aerospace engineer, I am very drawn to the environmental science, which is about sustainability, environment, and all that. And I'm really interested in just delving deeper into it and really finding out how would it help our people that are living in our community, and also globally also. Yes.
So the Imbeleko Academy does not only provide us with academic support, but they also provide us with agricultural education. As here at the Academy, we have a small garden that we as a student are tasked in taking care of. So we do little things like watering the plants and making sure that the plants are watered. Doing this has made me appreciate nature and the overall idea of homegrown plants and herbs. And it has also inspired me on starting my own garden at home. And doing so has also inspired my grandmother on doing the same, which has really made me very happy and motivated me to spread the knowledge that I have acquired, and spread the knowledge, letting people know that planting is a really good thing, and motivating them as well to start their own gardens, as this is not only healthy for them, but it also complements sustainability.
Okay, so in answering this question, I would first like to start off with a little story that just occurred to me and my younger sister at the beginning of the year. So she's now doing grade 4, and in the South African curriculum, there's a shift where you do 6 subjects and most of them are mostly taught in English. But she had some struggles with this because our native language is Zulu, and so the shift was not easy for her. So I would usually have to help her with her homework, but that was not also fixing with my timetable and my studies because I had to also do my own schoolwork. So, as I mentioned before, with the DP Digital After School program, we're able to gain coding skills, and I was just able to use these coding skills to design an app for my younger sister that was able to provide the same services that I would offer her, like reading for her and making her understand better in a simpler way, and that provides in a way that in a way that will explain to her in our native language. So this is just one of the ways I've been using the resources offered by Imbelego to help the people around me. And I would like to see this prospering in the future with helping a larger scale of younger people, because we first must understand that the building blocks first occur with the younger children. Like enable to understand things for sustainable long life learning, you have to start at the beginning. So I would like to see this prospering and growing to other children so that we're able to go forward and improve altogether.
Incredible. I used my coding skills to create an app to help my younger sister. That's phenomenal. All of these these are great. I love all of this. I'm going to stick with the screen for a second. Sate, when you think about the connection between it's being learned and developed locally and what that looks like in a global stage, how do you think about that connection? What's the impact that you see in your work?
I think young people stay in community to learn skills shows us that we are capable of finding our own solutions and we don't have to look outside our own communities. So for me, what has inspired me along my journey, one was my grandmother who never went to school but encouraged me to learn, and my best friend who is a diehard for educating kids and bridging the gap in the educational equity gap in South Africa. So what I've realized is that having someone in your corner cheering you on, saying you can do it, you are amazing, you can do this, has made a huge impact in my life, and I've been able to go on to the next thing. And going around South Africa, I've seen how supporting people around you empowers them to do great things. We have big dreamers, and just by giving them the support that we can give them has empowered them to come back to the communities and give back. Because just like someone put a step up for her, she came back to a community and is doing this amazing work, and she's impacted 1,000 kids. Being able to do the same along in the journey of Imbelego Foundation has made me feel quite fulfilled, because as a teacher, you touch many lives. And with the work that we do, we are reaching even beyond the classroom. And as long as we make Imbelego Academy work, we can go into different communities and inspire the same from their own people who can in turn run the same programs for their own children in their own spaces. So the ripple effect of the work that is happening in the community of Kwanyisa is able to reach a global scale, because it starts with me. I'm able to provide for my own self and my family. And when that touches the next person, they do the same for the next person. So if we all paid forward to 1,000 dreamers like Cebu has done, we're going to be able to touch everyone in the world.
Answer. Cebu, when you think about the connection between hyperlocal and global, what's that look like to you? How do you kind of measure the local impact in a global context?
I like reflecting back and forward, and I think of 13 years ago when I took 3 girls that had lost their parents and being raised by their grandmothers, and all I wanted to do was give them an education. What I didn't realize was I was also becoming a parent to 3 girls who became hundreds of girls who are becoming thousands of girls and boys. And what that has done is it's taking me on a journey with them. So it's not like when they finish high school, that's the end, or when they finish university, that's the end. I have all of a sudden found myself with hundreds of graduates, a lot of whom, if they're in the health sciences, engineering, accounting fields, they get jobs very easily, but the rest don't. And so we are finding, even over and above Imbeleko graduates, a lot of young people who really pursue education and work hard, but they find themselves back in community without jobs. So the success of the work that we have done has really challenged me to also realize that we can create our own economy right in our community. And also the opportunity to leverage technology for social impact. So I realized that I am an activist for education, for sustainability, for ensuring that if you can dream it and you're a young person, you can become whatever you want to become. And we can do it right in our community. So right now, my role is to tap into the global economy, to come into our own economy, into our own community, to create jobs. So we can develop jobs in this very community by building smart centers and tech hubs. And we've just gotten Apple to come on board. So we're building the first Apple-approved training center for education right in our community, which has actually started construction. So what that will allow us to do is to train our own app developers, our own programmers. And I'm really calling on the world to say, here are these young, brilliant minds. You've just had 4 of them. And we have hundreds and we'll have thousands of them. Like they've done to India and other countries. We in the Valley of 1,000 Hills are there, and we are ready to employ these young minds with the world and create more opportunities.
I love how all of these are built on each other. Satay said, you don't have to look out for solutions. We've got solutions. And you say, we've got those solutions, but they do require some investment and some jobs. And so that's hyper-local and global. The part I'm most excited about, we want to turn this back over to these 4 brilliant young minds. What questions can we answer for you?
I have the question that says, what strategies are in place to ensure the sustainability and long-term impact of the initiatives that are introduced by Link in various regions, including South Africa?
Such a great question. I love that. Well, you know, I've told Sabu this before, but as we have 3 cameras pointed at us, I want to say it on camera. I'm really committed to coming and seeing the magic that's the Valley of the 1,000 Hills. I would really like to come and meet you in person and figure this out. But the question around long-term sustainability, we think about this a lot. There, I believe, is a fallacy that you have to look outside for solutions. I think you can look outside for partners and you can look outside for investment, whatever that looks like. But the solutions that work and the solutions that last have to be hyper-local. And so as a hyper-local firm, I was reflecting on, you said 13 years ago, Link is 13 years old. So Imbeleko Foundation and Link started around the same time. And when we started, we were an organization to work in our city of Washington, D.C. And then we started working regionally, and then we started working nationally. And I think I always knew there was a global model, but that model wouldn't have felt authentic if it started globally. It had to start locally. And when we are in other places, we take very seriously that we're invited guests in those places. And our job is to be a partner, not to come in with all the answers and not to come in as a competitor. And I think that is somewhat rare in the business sense, right? I run a for-profit business, but we run a for-profit business that does social impact work. So anywhere we are around the world, we are there if we're invited to be there, and we're there in a spirit of partnership, and we're looking to invest locally and to hire locally and to find firms like ours or not like ours that we could partner with to make sure that impact remains non-extractive. That to us is where organic growth comes from. It's by being a partner first and foremost. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it very does. Thank you very much for your answer.
What else?
I would like to go next. I would like to know, how is Link embracing technology to ensure educational opportunities for the youth in underdeserving areas?
That's a great question as well. And Sabu, you've done so much work in investing in technology and training at the Umbilical Foundation. I'd also love to know how we can collectively continue to support that. I think today's a really great example of that. So the setup here in our office, in our studio, has three cameras, 4 lights, 4 laptops, and 3 different people making this work, right? And we're able to connect with you through the Zoom platform and have a really effective discussion. So I think for me, technology is used best when it's used to empower and enable dialogue and connection. If we had to all be in the same room, it would be really hard for this dialogue to happen, but we can cobble together a way to all be on the same screen and have what I hope is the start of many more discussions. And so technology, I think, can be something that reduces the barrier of entry, allows people to connect. Unfortunately, technology and the pace of change can also be what divides people. And I won't spend a whole bunch of time on this, but we spend a lot of time in community building and bringing people together. And, I'm a huge fan of social media and I use it all the time. Those algorithms are also not set up to bring people together, right? They're set up to give us content that we tell the algorithms we like. And so what's happening through a lot of technology is it's dividing people into camps of only people who agree with them. And I think that's dangerous as well, because we don't make progress by only talking to people we agree with. We make progress by talking to people we need to learn from. And so technology can be an amazing force for good, and it can be something that divides us even more. And we've got to be really aware of that as we're doing this community building work. Does that make sense, sir?
Thank you very much for your answer.
Questions for us?
Can I just jump in? You mentioned that you go into communities and try to find solutions with local people, and seeing the direction that Imbelewe is taking, we might ourselves have to go to different communities to work with them, implement the blended learning program and model that we're working on. So what are some of the biggest challenges that Link has faced in implementing projects in diverse cultural contexts?
It's a really, really great question. And so I think one of the challenges that any organization would face is, if you do not have direct experience with the cultural norms or the local understanding of issues, you're going to get it wrong if you're afraid to ask for help around that. And so we've spent a lot of time trying to figure out how best to be a partner, adding expertise where we can, but also being comfortable when we don't have that expertise and making sure that lives locally. Let me give you a really specific example. We're doing a bunch of work right now in sports tourism. When I started this 13 years ago, I had no concept we do sports tourism. Why are we doing sports tourism? Well, because in a lot of places we're working, especially throughout the Caribbean, tourism is the main economic engine. Sports and sporting events can often be a very positive economic driver, but often the sporting events that are coming into a community are deeply extractive to that community. You bring an event in, you sell a whole bunch of VIP passes to that event. The event then leaves and there's been no local buy-in. You've done nothing to build the infrastructure. And so we do sports tourism because we're trying to build a non-extractive way to do that. So for example, we'll build tennis events and we'll bring in great tennis events, but we won't do that unless it's in partnership with the local community. We include the local community in every part of the event. Our desire is to not just have local community involved and invited, but can we bring in local folks that now learn how to produce events and how to do photography and how to do sports management? So you're creating job opportunities and the economic spillover effect. And it's a model we're continuing to refine and try and make sure it works. But I think there's something to that is really exciting. And that's something we would like to continue. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you for that response. It's help. Asking for help always does help, because you will not know everything about the communities we go to. Thank you, Michael.
And these don't just have to be for me. Ask your founder some questions too. Other questions you have here? We answer them all? Zamia, I'm going to do a little wrap up here, but before, you've done such a phenomenal job as our co-host. Any observations or thoughts or questions you have as we start to wrap up here?
Yeah, I'll just say, I wish I had the opportunity to attend the Embeleco Foundation when I was in middle and high school, because the fact that you all are just leaders and you all know exactly where you aspire to be in the future, and you know leaders around you is really heartwarming to me. Youth development and youth empowerment is a passion of mine, and just being able to help the young people in my community is really important. And you all individually have such great heads on your shoulders. And you all are very inspiring. You all inspired me today. A lot of the times, Michael said, I'm in the back end putting together these runs of shows, making sure the tech is working, making sure everyone has an email confirmation. But once I come in here, all of that is worth it times 1,000, because I get to connect with great leaders like you. And I just will say that to everyone watching today, you all have inspired so many people around the world. There are going to be people watching this from a bunch of different places. And I'll just say, keep on doing the great, amazing work that you're doing, and keep on inspiring the future generations behind you as well.
Yeah.
I want to say something
I'm
too.
going to give you the space to say whatever you want, Miss Spoo.
So, the 4 young minds, brilliant young minds that we have here today, at Embeleco, we call them the dreamers. And our reality is, it is supporters and partners from around the world that have helped us as an organization to dream, so that they can also realize their dreams. But how we've achieved that is through storytelling. The moment we started telling our stories, and mostly in the beginning, it was my own story of why I was doing this, but I'm just overwhelmed by how powerful, amazing storytellers they themselves are. And I would really love to thank you guys for giving us the opportunity to tell our stories. It's now no longer my story, it's Ste's story, Sandile, Zama, Smongapilo, and Spogazi. Those are 6 people. And I think when there's many of us speaking in unison, there's more people that will get to hear these stories and want to come on board and see how they can help us, scale what we do, and just for us to achieve what we dream. So thank you so much for the opportunity.
That's been great. But if people want to go and support, what does that support look like? What do you need, and where do they go to find more information?
So we have a website. It's www.imbelego.org. So that's where we've got all information about how people can support us. We're also on social media. If you go to Facebook and look for Imbelego, the Valley of 1,000 Dreams, you'll find us there, and Instagram and LinkedIn. We tell a lot of stories. So this is just a few of our stories, but we tell a lot of stories. But what we're essentially trying to do right now is to build up our academy. We have a small space, and because of the success of these young people, we have a partnership with the University of Cape Town, which is the top university in Africa and South Africa, offering more scholarships for more kids to attend. But we're not able to do that because we don't have enough space. So we're trying to build up our academy, and we would love all the support from anyone in the world to help us do that. And you can go to our website and see how you can do that.
I love that.
Yeah.
We will certainly promote that as well. I'm going to end with something that I heard one of our students say. You talked about the multitude of possibilities. And I just love that as a phrase, the multitude of possibilities, kind of the art of what's possible. Yes, and I love that. And this whole discussion has been a multitude of possibilities. And I appreciate so much the time and the trust that you've put into this discussion. And if I'm able to, I'd love to give a charge to the students who are part of this today. As you wrap this experience and go back to your educational experience, I'd love to know how we can do more using our platform in this storytelling. So what worked today for you? What didn't? How can we do this more for your colleagues and your classmates? So as Spoo gets back and with Stite, please talk through where we might be able to use our platform to amplify stories more. And you have our student was smiling and nodding. There's such a level of camaraderie and support here. We do a lot of these discussions, and I have to stop and be like, y'all on screen with each other, adults, can you be invested in each other? And you all were invested in each other the entire time. And it's an amazing camaraderie to watch. So thank you for being here. Thanks to all who are watching. If you would like more information on the Embelico Foundation, we'll make sure we drop that information on our social media. Go out there, make it a good day, and we'll be back together soon. Thank you.